Today we are going to make a simple buttercream icing for cake. Very easy ingredients, not difficult to do. It'll only take us a few minutes. We're going to start with a stick of butter that's been softened and half a stick of these fantastic Crisco shortening sticks. It's important that the butter is soft because you do not want clumps of butter in the icing. So this has been coming to room temperature for a little while. And we're going to take just half of one of these sticks. And that's what's going to start our icing. Now, you could do all butter, but if you do that, you're gonna have icing that gets rancid pretty quick if you sit it out on the counter for too long and it just is mealy. Or you could do all Crisco, but you don't wanna eat all Crisco icing. So we do half and half. It is the best of both worlds. We're gonna mix that. Till it's nice and soft. Really good. And you will have to stop mixing and really scrape the bowl a few times. It's really, really important that you get the butter and the shortening creamy before you put the sugar in. Otherwise, it will not be smooth and you'll see lumps in the frosting, and no one wants that. All right, we're getting there. We're going to do this for a few more minutes and then we'll start adding the sugar and the liquid. Okay, you can see this is nice and creamy, no lumps anywhere. We are ready to move on to the rest of the ingredients. The first thing we're going to do is measure out our sugar. It is simple confectioner sugar, 10x sugar. I do not buy brand name sugar. Why? It's just sugar. It's all the same thing. So I also, when I measure it out, do not use a liquid measure. It's not the right thing. You want to use this kind of measuring cup. You're going to do 4 cups of sugar, give or take. This is really a touch activity to see how thick you want the icing to be, and depending what I'm going to do with it, I will make it thinner or thicker. This is just the basic ice to cake icing, so it's going to be a little bit thinner than if you wanted to try to make roses or letters or things like that. So we're going to use this scoop, we're going to use regular 10x sugar, and set that aside, which I've already done. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to add our liquid components. The first is going to be just vanilla. The recipe calls for 2 teaspoons, 1 vanilla and 1 another flavoring. You could use butter flavoring, you could use raspberry flavoring if I were making raspberry buttercream. I'm not today, we're just going to do plain. So I'm going to go ahead and just use 2 vanillas. And then you need 2 tablespoons of milk. I tend to use 2% milk, which is fine. You can use whole milk, but I cheat and I add a little half and half, and that makes it a little creamier. And especially if I am making a dreamsicle cake, I skip the milk and just go right for the heavy cream because it makes it that much creamier. All right, so now we have our liquid in the bowl, and we are just going to slowly add 1 cup of the sugar so we don't have everything explode on us. And we're going to add the sugar slowly, and by the time we get all 4 cups in, it should be ready to go. You always can add things slowly. You can't take things back. So it's better to just go little by little and then adjust accordingly. All right. Here we go. Start off slow so you don't have sugar flying everywhere. And then go ahead and turn that mixer up so you really get it incorporated. And this will require several scraping downs of the bowl, but that's okay. Again, you want to be in control of what's going on in here and watching how thick your icing is so you can decide how much sugar you'd like to add. I can see now that all the sugar is in. This is going to be very, very thick. Perfect if I wanted to be making flowers or some other additions to the trim of the cake that really need to stay solid. This is not what I want if I want to just be icing the cake. I need it a little creamier. And so this is where it's a little bit of a touch thing. I'm going to go ahead and add another tablespoon of liquid. You could use milk. I want to add a little bit of half and half to give it an extra creamier texture and taste. So we're just gonna add that in and we'll see if it looks good. Great. If not, I'll add another one. Again, I can always add slowly. I can't pull it back once I've dumped it in. So after an additional tablespoon, it's still a little thick. Again, fantastic for doing flowers or trim that you need really stiff icing. This is still not easily spreadable to be on the cake. So we're gonna add one more tablespoon. I'm going to keep it with the half and half, again, because I want it to taste very rich and creamy. And I think we'll probably be in a good spot at that point. So after the addition of that last bit of milk and cream, it's much fluffier. You can see how easily it just comes off with a spatula. That's the kind of consistency we want for icing a cake, and see how nicely it spreads. So now we're done. We just need to decide what color we're going to make our icing. And I typically do that in small batches as I need it. So that's it. Easy buttercream icing. Nothing to it.